Welcome back to the lunch table, Food for Thought. I'm Nico Blitz. Make sure you hit that subscribe button at the bottom left-hand corner. We're also on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio app, all those places if you don't want to see my face for about a fucking hour, man. My next guest, he just released his debut album earlier this year called FOTO. And let the record reflect that we have been fans of him for probably like 2-3 years now. Shout out to all the freestyles that he puts out. And what I really commend about this guy is that he literally does the same thing over and over again for the past like 3 years, man. I'm talking about videos where it's just like one angle, then he puts the captions on the bottom for all his lyrics, and that's very commendable because a lot of people do not stick to the same thing for a long time. Shout out New York, man. Shout out Kota the Friend, my next guest. What's poppin', man?
Chilling, bro. Thank you for having me.
Yo, it's a blessing, bro. And to be fair, I didn't find you. Shout out to Ange right there.
Hey,
she was the one who actually discovered you, man. So, it's been cool, man. You've actually been on tour with one of our good homies, Hasib.
Oh, yeah.
How'd that come about?
He opened for me like a couple years back at forgot what club was it, but yeah, that's how I met him. And after that, he just been on a couple tour dates. Then he went to Europe with us, and it was chill.
Yeah. Just bread and butter from there.
Yeah.
Y'all kind of have like that very like lo-fi, chill hip hop vibe, man. So I could see like why that tour would be perfect. Because she went and she was just like talking about y'all forever. And I'm just like, yo, like I wish I went to that shit.
Where, yeah. Nah, it was dope.
But now you're currently on tour and you're selling every city out, bro. How does that feel?
It feels great that the music is actually reaching like all of these different cities and different people. It's like you really see the manifestation of years and years of hard work and just like at the same time people connecting with something that means so much to them, So it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think the subjects that you touch upon on your music is very relatable to people. I mean, you talk about relationships, you talking about like trying to make it and everything. And like, I feel like you have a personal message in every single song. And I think that's why people gravitate towards it. I think that's why people end up going to every single one of your shows and like wanting to support.
Yeah. That's definitely a common theme where like the meet and greet people, the people that come to meet me, it's just like they're like, yo, you just helped me through so much and I'm going through this right now and that right now. And it's like it means a lot to them because it's real. The music it relates to something so deep within themselves that they see themselves in the music no matter what the experiences are and how different they are. It's the emotion that, kind of brings everybody together, and it's a beautiful thing.
Well, I've always felt like we are products of the musicians and the artists who we listen to. So who were you listening to growing up?
When I was really young, my parents would say I love Mary J. Blige,
Mary J. Blige, okay.
Yeah. And I went through a lot of phases, of listening to different things. And, when LimeWire came out, then I was kind of
grabbing everything.
I was opened up to the world, and I've always been adventurous, like, in my spirit. So I was listening to everything, man. Like, early on, my brother was a big Jay-Z fan, and he's 5 years older than me. So I was like 8, 9 years old listening to the most raw Jay-Z songs you could ever think about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew his whole catalog up until, like, Black Album at the time, and I was... Reasonable Doubt, I knew every lyric. I'll never forget, he took me to Radio City when he was doing his Reasonable Doubt concert. My brother took me to, like, for my junior high school graduation or something. Crazy. And I was like, I knew every single word to Jay's first album,
bro.
And so, but I was listening to Jay, Nas, Big, Tupac. I had this whole Tupac phase where I was just listening to Tupac, and Biggie. And then Kanye came out. Then I was just listening to College Dropout, Late Registration. I used to be on the Rockefeller website, Rockefeller.com. You feel me? Like listening to the snippets and trying to like get of Late Registration.
What's your favorite Kanye album? I love this discussion.
Yeah, I say College Dropout, and everybody hates when I say it because they're like, "Oh, you one of those," But I love College Dropout. Every 21 tracks. That made up that album. It was an experience, bro. Like when you hear that voice come on at the beginning, You know, like
Yeah. I mean, I got that shit on vinyl, bro, and it was you know, College Dropout was one of those albums that really, I mean, it obviously introduced Kanye to the rest of the world, but I think like when it comes down to production and storytelling, it was like, bro, like this is like one of the most classic albums of hip hop ever.
It was amazing. Yeah. It was amazing, and people, I feel like, don't give it the credit that it really deserves. You know what I mean? Like, it was.
Well, I feel like you kind of take on like, I guess, what Kanye has done for hip hop, because Kanye, like J. Cole's a product of Kanye West, somebody who can like rap their own shit and like make their own beats. And I feel like, you know, especially on your project FOTO, since you were able to like write your own shit and produce your own shit, do you feel like you're kind of a product of them?
Definitely. Like, Kanye is a teacher for everybody. Like, he did something that nobody was doing at the time, and it just was like, what is this? Like, I'll never forget the first time I heard a Kanye song. You know, like, I remember the moment. I remember what it felt like, and it was just, like, I was in a sneaker store, and we were school shopping for sneakers. You know what I'm saying? And
that's the first time you heard a Kanye song.
Yeah, that's the first time I heard a Kanye song, and All Falls Down came on and it constantly was playing, you know?
Yeah.
And I'll never that moment was just like, yo, what is this great music? You know, it's kind of like the first piece of music that I found on my own, like where I decided I liked it, not because somebody else was playing it, just because I heard it and I thought it was great. And he created moments, and now we're kind of like carrying that torch, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know, seeing as how you were already musically inclined prior to, like, you know, listening to any music, I know you used to play trumpet, right?
Yeah.
So, like, was that combination of, like, Kanye West, you know, influencing your music and also playing the trumpet wants you to, like, hey, like, I can be a rapper?
It was a gradual thing, but hip-hop was always a part of our lives. Like, we had a tape recorder, like a what would it be called? Like a answering machine.
Okay.
That we used to literally like play beats from like a laptop or anywhere, or radio. We create a CD of beats and just play it, and we would record like rapping into the answering machine.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And that was like early days, and so that was like our first introduction to like recording over a beat and writing to a beat. The first beat.
How old were you, do you think?
I had to be like 10. Like, Jesus, you know what I mean?
Man,
had to be 11, something like that.
I feel like we're so spoiled nowadays because it's like even the laptops come with the microphones and shit. I remember like when I used to record music when I was like 12, 13, just to get some reverb, right? I would put my laptop in the bathroom, and there was like a bathroom that connected me and my sister's room, right? And I would be rapping like hella close to the microphone. My sister would look at me like, yo, what the fuck are you doing right now? Yeah. And we would just have to figure it out when we were younger.
Yeah. It was a lot to figure out. It was always I was always trying to figure something out. Yeah. Like, I vividly remember trying to record into the like laptop, but it was too low. Like the vocal would always come out too low. So it was a constant learning curve to try to like figure out how am I gonna get my voice to sound. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, crispy.
And that's early, before laptops had good sound quality and before the USB microphones and all of that.
You kind of just recorded something and thought like, man, this is fire.
Yeah. The first beat I ever recorded anything to was In My Lifetime instrumental by Jay-Z.
Wow.
Yeah. And ever since then, it was kind of a thing that was always around. Like, I knew I could do it. After I did that, I was like, I know I could, like, copy Jay's flow a little bit, figure out my own words, then create my own flows, and then figure out what I want to do. And so that was our introduction to, because we were watching MTV and BET and just, like, music videos. And it was inspiring to watch people, make
like,
music.
Like, really get down,
It was crazy. So I guess that's where we started, like, the whole idea of, like, rapping came into play. But then when I started, like, playing instruments and trumpet and learning keyboard and bass guitar and guitar, it kind of put me in a different realm where I was gaining the musicality that I needed to kind of, like, create other things. And I've always been a creative person. Like, when it comes to, I'll learn anything. When it comes to anything that I can create with, I can learn,
So then why was the first instrument that you chose, like, trumpet?
Trumpet? I was in public school. Like, they just throw you whatever. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to play saxophone, but there wasn't enough saxophones. You know what I mean? So I played trumpet. It's like the universe chose my fate. You feel me? Like, the public school system chose my fate. I couldn't choose what I...
You're just whatever. I'm just learn this shit.
So they gave me trumpet, and I feel like I would have excelled at whatever it was because the way my mind works, you know. Like, not everybody's meant to be a basketball player. Not everybody's meant to be a musician. But
Yeah.
I feel like I was meant to do anything creative. And so they gave me the trumpet, and then after that, I kind of excelled at it. Like, the week one of playing the trumpet, the teacher was like, oh, he's gifted, and they put me in, like, the accelerated classes and things like that. And ever since then, it's been, like, music has just been a thing in my life where it's something I could do. Something I could fall back on, you know?
So was that teacher that put you in, like, the accelerated class program and whatnot, was that the same teacher that you ended up using for your album?
Nah, different teacher, different teacher.
See, it would have came full
That
circle
would've
like
been
that. That
crazy.
would have been fire.
That would've been crazy.
So this is a different teacher that
It's a
you
different
put
teacher.
Okay,
I had a
okay.
lot of music teachers, though, because I was in so many programs, you know?
Yeah.
So, but when the teacher that was on the album, like, I've known him since I was in elementary school, you know? And he's been a big influence. And so the fact
Give
that
him
he
a shout out, man. What's his name?
Yo, shout out Mr. Parker. You feel me?
Mr. Parker, man.
Richard Parker. Like, he's great, man. Like, I grew up around so many dope musicians. Like,
Yeah.
for real.
So what enticed you to want to get Mr. Parker to play trumpet on FOTO?
Oh, he played the sax.
Oh, sax.
He played the sax. But I saw him in a bagel shop in my old neighborhood. Yeah. And this is like a week, 2 weeks maybe before the album even dropped, you know? And I saw him. So he wasn't even on it at first. And so I saw him in a bagel shop, and I was just like, Mr. Parker, you should really be on my album. Like,
Yeah.
you're a great
That's
sax
crazy.
player. And so literally I sent him the tracks, and I was just like, yo, lay something down and we'll add it, you know? And he did it. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then I got his sax like parts mixed in at the same time that I got Saba's vocals. You feel me?
Damn.
Like, so I just sent all of that, and he just mixed it down. My son Dakin just mixed it down, and it came out great. And I was like, this is amazing.
So, you know, every time I go back home and I see somebody from my past, they're always just like, yo, like, it's so crazy, like, the things that you're doing and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so for you being on, you know, currently on tour and, like, creating projects that a lot of people are gravitating towards, did Mr. Parker have any, like, words for you, seeing as how, like, he was there basically from the jump and seeing, like, what you're doing now?
He was always a supporter of mine. Like, I've been doing so much since I was a kid, and, like, at some point I'm still doing it, but I'm still, like, making clothes, and I got a clothing line and things like that.
Yeah, shout out Flight
And,
Boys,
yeah,
man.
Shout out Flight Boys. Like, I've been in bands. I've played guitar in bands. I played keyboard. I've sung, like, you know, and so he watched that whole progression. He watched the whole progression, and he's always been there to say, like, yo, keep up what you're doing, keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
He would tell his classes about, like, still a teacher, so he would tell his classes, like, yo, what he's doing, like, y'all gotta follow
Yo,
that, you know?
that's such a cheat code because
Yeah.
imagine he got like 30 kids in the class. You got 30 more kids being like, oh, Kota the Friend because my professor told me about it.
I didn't think about it that way, but you're right. Yeah, and it's crazy. But he's always been there to support. And so now
Yeah.
he's just looking at what he's just like, wow, man, that's crazy. You know, and the fact that I
Yeah.
could put him on the track and he could get paid. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like everything coming full circle, and then he's always gonna be there, and I'll always use him, you know, to make more music because he's so great. You know,
Yeah.
it's like I don't have to think about it.
He definitely sounds like a huge mentor in your life for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, you know, you're doing these classes and you're progressing with like learning the trumpet and like hella other instruments, like, and you're at the same time you're rapping over like Jay-Z beats, Kanye beats, and even just like 3 years ago you're still doing like that same stuff. Like, when do you start to take like you as a rapper seriously?
Man, yeah, I started taking this thing serious a couple years ago. Maybe like 3 years ago is when I started really like, yo, I'm gonna make music and I'm gonna do this. Like, cause 4 years ago, I was shooting videos for everybody, and I was just shooting music videos. I wasn't making music at all. And
Who are you shooting videos for?
anybody, anybody and everybody, like the whole city, the whole New York City, whoever
Yeah.
needed one, I was shooting. I was coming out, rain or shine, snow,
Rain or
cold.
shine,
like
snow.
it was a grind because I needed that to make money. That was my main source of income.
Yeah.
Like, I had a job for probably a couple months max, and I took all that money and I bought a Canon 5D Mark II. And
Damn,
after that,
bro.
I was just shooting. And then I moved up to a, Panasonic GH4 and just was grinding, bro.
What was the most memorable video set that you'd been on?
Oh, man. It was never crazy because the budgets were always low. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It was never anything extravagant. Man, I think the craziest thing I've ever done, because I used to do stuff just for myself, you know. So one time I shot this video for my brand, and it was basically like a skate video for my friend who is a skateboarder. He's really good. His name is Nelson Darden, and we just went around the whole city from the morning to 10 o'clock at night, shooting him skating, you know? And it was just, we had the boom mics out. I had like 3 camera angles, you know what I mean? And it was just this really cool video of just my friend skating. And the video ended up being like 2 minutes long, you know? But it's just following his like journey through the city, like coming from Brooklyn, going on the Manhattan Bridge, being in Chinatown, being by Union Square.
That's
like
crazy.
You know, but I used to do stuff like that where there was no money involved, but I was getting like experience.
Well, yeah,
and
I mean, it
knowledge,
sounded
so.
like you really just wanted to like push the creative juices that you had, like.
Yeah.
And like, did you ever have? You said you only had like a job for like what, 3 months max or something?
2 months.
2 months.
3 months. I wouldn't even give myself that. I'm not even
nuts.
sure.
So it's like you. It sounds like you never really had aspirations of like getting a corporate job or anything like that.
Nah. I knew that wasn't for me early on, you know, and I knew everybody was pushing me to get a job, and I'd be like, that doesn't sound cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound good. Like, I don't think I could do that forever. And it's not. For me, it wasn't a trend to, like, be an entrepreneur or be creative. It wasn't a trend. It was, like, I don't see any other life, you know, for myself. And so whenever I had a job, it was always, like, I know that there's an end to this, you know? It's like I watch people, and this was their life, you know? This is what they did. They went to work, and then they partied on the weekends. And that was cool for them. And that's good, I think, to each his own. You know? But... I mean,
but I'll still get calls from my homies back home, and they'll be like, "Yo, like," I'm like, "What are you guys doing this weekend? Like drinking?" I'm like, ugh.
Yeah,
I get it, but then I don't get it, and it's difficult because you kind of have to detach yourself from like you know, your friends and whatnot. Like for instance, like I'm very particular whenever I have interviews here and like the shirts that I wear.
Yeah.
So for instance, like I'm Filipino.
Okay.
So Barkada actually means friends.
Fire.
Right.
Fire.
Kota the Friend, friends. Right. You guys get it, right?
Every day.
Right. So like. But if you look deeply into this shirt and try to like get the symbolism of it, it's basically saying that like as you move on in life, you kind of have to like cut off your so-called friends or you know people that are holding you back. Do you feel like that kind of speaks to you in a way?
Man, I feel like every journey that you have in life requires different people. You're around different people. Sometimes you re-meet people. Sometimes it's just like it's a constant adventure of like picking up and leaving off, you know? So sometimes I feel like sometimes you may leave people behind in a way, but I feel like there's always room to bring them back, you know? Like I'm not one to like cut off, you know what I mean? I feel like everything can exist together, you know, like and so it's hard for me to like agree with that, you know?
Yeah.
But I've a lot of people say that, and a lot of people say, you know, you have to, you know, shed the skin and shed certain people and things like that. But I feel like you're even more powerful when people can exist around you and you can still be who you are.
Damn,
you know?
that's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I felt that 100%. That's just crazy. We're getting gems. Speaking of gems, man, I saw that not too long ago you actually got like a cool little retweet from Gary V.
Oh, yeah. Gary V.
Shout out Gary V, man.
Shout out him.
Where were you once you got like that little tweet like Gary V like sending out your music to the rest of the world?
Man, let me tell you, bro. It's been a crazy few months. You know, it's like certain people following me on Instagram and tweeting me. I'm like, okay, this is a lot, and I'm just kind of sitting here like, I appreciate it. You know, like I'm not let it get to my head or anything like that. I appreciate everything that people are doing to get the word out. And Gary V, him and his people just they like the music and they like the movement and what I'm doing. And so like I appreciate him even taking the time to say, yo, what you're doing is great. You know, so
I hear that, man. We see like these I love it though because like we're seeing like all these very influential people in the world like really show love to. I want to even break it down to just like a lot of people in hip hop, like Barack Obama, for instance. He just released that whole list of just like music that he was fucking with.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And you know, to me, it's kind of like we need more situations like that where people are sharing good music, because I feel like nowadays a lot of rappers tend to like not want to like put on other people because of the idea that like, oh, like if I put this person on, then they're just gonna eclipse me, and then da 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 wooty woot.
Yeah, I don't believe in that. You know, I believe in everybody deserves shine. If I find a really cool artist, I definitely give them their shine. You know what I mean? There's people that, if you listen to my album, like, there's only one feature that has like a big name, which is Saba, and I only got him because he's really talented. You know what I mean? It wasn't about, you know, getting the biggest feature or whatever. But everybody else on the album is like people from my neighborhood, you know, people from Brooklyn.
Crazy.
And my teacher, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just, that's how I want to have my career. I want my career to be like, you know, putting on talented people, you know? It's like,
well, you don't have to put like a number to the person, you know?
Yeah, nothing like that. You feel me? Nothing like that at all. And like one of the main dudes that's on a few of my songs, his name is Hello O'Shea. And we used to be, he went to high school with me, you know, and we used to be we used to cut school and just be in the, like, and be in the music room or like, you know, do anything music related, you know, together. We would learn together.
Yeah.
I remember he's a great singer now, but back then he couldn't sing for anything, you feel me? And we would be in the music room just like him trying out different riffs and different things, and he was learning. And I was learning the piano. And he was teaching me things on the guitar. And then I surpassed him on the guitar. And he surpassed me vocally. And then, like, so it all comes full circle because now I hit him up and I'm like, bro, I got this opportunity. I want you to get on my album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he gets on the album. He discovers that, and now a whole bunch of other people discover him. And now he's doing shows all over and he's doing his thing, you know?
Man.
And these are my homies, you know? So I feel like that's how I want my career to be, you know, just like. And back to Kanye, that's what he used to do. You know, the people that would put him on, that had put him on, people don't give him enough credit for that because he used to put a lot of people on. Like, I'll never forget listening to Spaceship, and it was people I didn't know who was on it. Like, I didn't know about Consequence. I didn't know about GLC. But the verses was hard, and I was like, yo, this is dope. And I'll never forget going on any website I could find, like, trying to find who these features were that Kanye was using. And so, like, he did a lot of that, too.
Well, that's how you keep culture moving forward, bro. Because I remember, what was that song? Like, Grammy Family.
Oh,
I think Consequence, Kanye, and, like, one... I forgot the last MC who was on it, but I was like, yo, like, that was my first introduction into Consequence, man. And even so, like... you know what I really miss is the fact that, like, collaborations rarely exist anymore because shout out to J. Cole. He's the one who was really, like, double platinum, no features type shit.
Sure.
But it's like, I guess the one caveat to that is that you don't really get the exposure for other people. So when, like, Dreamville, for example, put out that whole compilation album, you see a whole bunch of names of, like, random people you've never heard before. And it makes me, at least like a fan, be like, oh, well, who's this? Who is this? Who's that?
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Him doing that was legendary. You know,
well, you know, like there's a lot of speculation. I know you've claimed that you're never gonna get signed, right? But then a lot of people like to associate you with like Dreamville, like even even on Spotify, like the next person like after you was like Loot.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Did you ever like if you were to sign to like anybody, would you ever consider signing in Dreamville?
If that was my plan to be signed to a label, yeah, definitely. You know, I think what they got going on is dope, you know? But I feel like I would want to start my own label, not even like label, but my own company, you know? I respect what J. Cole is doing, you know? But I think that the way that I think and the way that I am, I would definitely want to I'd break off, you know what I mean? And do something else and create something that is more my speed and more like what I believe in, you know? In the whole business model would be different, you know. I'm not sure that I could be on any label that's under another umbrella, you know.
Got you.
So, yeah.
Shout out to you, man. So let's go back to the album FOTO.
Word.
Something that like Ange noticed a lot was that you name a lot of your songs after cities.
Yeah.
Like, why is that? Because you have records like Colorado, Hollywood, Sydney, both to Bermuda. Like, were you actually like in these places when you were recording all these songs?
Nah, I think sometimes it's manifestation, you know, and sometimes it's like based off of an actual like experience, like Chicago Diner, you know, and really it comes from when I was younger. It was just when you're young and in the city and you're in Brooklyn and you don't go anywhere, you know, you sit there and you daydream about all these places and you look at the map and you're like, yo, what would this place be like?
Yeah.
What's that like? And you see pictures and you watch movies, and it's just, I've always been, you know, dreaming about places, about traveling the world. Always wanted to travel the world.
I mean, you're kind of
Like,
doing that right now, bro.
I'm living,
That's crazy.
yo, manifestation, bro.
Yeah.
Manifestation. And I would just read like books on revolutionaries and, you know, Che Guevara and how him trucking through the jungles and in Cuba and going to Africa to help with this revolution and that. You know, it's like I always looked at that and I was like, man, that's amazing, you know? And so places really inspire me, you know, and I'll write a song called Colorado because I put myself in that place for that moment, and then I end up going to that place, you know, and experiencing it. And I've learned that through this whole music thing, like the manifestation is crazy. This stuff that I said in tracks 2 years ago, and I listen to it now, and I start crying because it's like I was talking about something that had manifested itself today, you know, and it's like.
You mean the touring?
Yeah, even more than that. You know, this stuff. There's times where I wrote something and now I listen to it. I'm like, I'm talking about me now. You know what I'm talking to me now. You know?
mean, what are you getting at in particular? I'm
just saying, like, it's like even like if I write about Colorado, you know, and I've never been to Colorado.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm just being real. But I can only say what I've seen in pictures and how the pictures make me feel, and you know, and. Like, it's about a mental place, too, you know? So it's like I'm about to go to Denver. You know, I'm about to do a show in Denver. And that will be manifested. And then, so that's the way I look at music and life. It's just like, these places inspired me whether I've been there or not. And places just inspire me a lot. I plan on seeing everything, you know?
Yeah. So. That's crazy, bro. It's crazy that you're like actually living everything that you manifest, and like that power of manifestation. Like I try to preach that a lot during this podcast because people don't get it. Yeah. I mean, you're not gonna wake up one day and just be like, "I'm making $1 million," and then just like wake up with $1 million. It's not like that, bro. Because I think what people like get the misconception about is that like if I say it, then it's just gonna happen. But there's like so much work that you need to put in just to like get to that point.
And then it's believing. It's believing in it. You can't try to manifest something but not believe in it. You know what I mean? Because it just doesn't, like you said, it doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? Like, and so all of this stuff that I say, I mean, you know? It's like it's deep in my soul, in my spirit. Everything that I say on a track, it's like it means that much to me. You know, like people, like my dad was listening to my album and he said something that stuck with me. He was like, every word, he was like, you don't waste a word. You know, like everything, word. He was like, everything you say, somebody could cling to every word that you say, you know? And I don't want to waste any words. I never say anything just to say it. I never say anything just to rhyme it, you know? I will let it not rhyme, you know?
Well, you know what I appreciate about your music a lot is that you keep cursing to a super minimum, bro. And, like, is that, like, something consciously that you've kept in mind, or?
I think so. I think after, it's like, curses they're unpleasant from time to time, you know? But sometimes I don't really curse that much in real life, you know? So when I'm rapping or I'm writing or whatever, it's my stream of consciousness, and I try to rap how I would speak. And so I'm never super vulgar because I'm not like that in real life. So, yeah.
I'm into that. I noticed you got like one of the gems on your neck, man.
This one?
Yeah. What is that? Like the stones or?
Yeah, this is a rose quartz. Yeah, somebody gave me this in Toronto. Like,
wait, what is that? I have no clue what that is.
Open
heart chakras. Jeez.
Yeah.
What the hell? So somebody gave that to you?
Somebody gave this to me in Toronto. A really cool person, you know, and I've been wearing it ever since. So.
What does it mean to you?
It's pretty. It's an object, you know. I try not to give power to objects. You know, that's important to me. You know, like other people will look at it and be like, "Oh, that means this," but for me, it's an object, and I feel like we give power to objects, and my mind is powerful. So if I say it's pretty, that's why I'm wearing it. You know,
it's like, bro, it ain't that deep.
Yeah, that's how I feel. But it's like we give power to anything. Like you wearing the cross on your joint, that's means something to you. You know what I mean? So and I don't judge people for believing in anything. So
One thing I do believe in, and I want you to like clear this up. Are you vegan?
Yeah, I am.
When
Yeah.
I told you, Ange. Wait, wait, what? When did you become vegan?
Right now it's been like a month. But I go in and out, you know, like I've done like 4 months at a time, you know what I mean? And it's just I do it because like to clean my system out and just to be, when I feel like when I need to be in a clean place, I stop eating meat and I stop like I haven't even been drinking really. So it's just right now I'm in a state of just trying to be better, you know? And so that's why I'm not eating meat. Not trying to eat bad. Like I drinking water and stuff like that. A whole bunch of water all day, and I'm just trying to cleanse my spirit. You know, so
that's crazy, bro. So I mean, obviously, since you're on tour, you can't be vegan all day, every day. You need to eat.
I really be vegan though. I really be doing this thing, bro. Not even gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like it could be a struggle, but sometimes I won't eat.
What's your favorite vegan food?
Seriously,
bruh.
I'm dead serious. Like, I'll go hours and hours without eating. Everybody's going to eat. They're like, yo, this good. I'm like, damn, bro. I'm over here sitting here holding my stomach like, all right, that sound nice. You know what I'm saying? The car's smelling good. They even stopped driving to eat. You feel me? And I'm over here sitting like, damn, that look good.
Bro, you got so much willpower.
But
That's
it
crazy.
is. But I'm really trying to go against like that. I'm trying to regain that discipline. You know what I mean? Like, yo, sugar is the most highly addictive substance.
Yeah.
More addictive than cocaine. You feel me? So like, and it's something that, yo, real talk. And so, it's like really cutting back from that because everything has sugar in it. You know, so cutting back from that is like the craziest will you could ever have.
Yeah.
Your body literally goes through withdrawal when you don't have sugar. You know what I mean? And so
make me want to put this coffee away really quick. Like, yo,
it's a thing, man. So, but I'm going through so much back home that right now I'm really trying to get control over my mind. You know, so I'm trying hard to just do certain things and regain control so that when I get back, I can like figure things out. You know.
Yeah. One thing that I know you're going through that's at least from back home is that like you actually had to like leave your kid while you're on tour. What was that conversation like with your kid?
He don't understand.
You don't get it?
He doesn't. I mean, but I do tell him like I'm going on tour. You know, he's 2.5. He doesn't really understand the concept, but he kind of is getting it. He's learning. He's getting it. But I see him all the time on FaceTime, and but
that's good.
Yeah, and he loves me to death, man. But like I left him, he was crying in my mother's arms. You know what I mean? Like it was a moment. But one day he'll understand. That's all I can hope for. And I love him, so he'll know that.
Is it difficult for you, like as a father, to get away from like your kid for like one portion of your life, knowing that like you have to be away in order to like help him out later on?
It is difficult, but when I'm home, I'm home. You know, when I'm home, I'm there for him every day. You know, and I can't. Not a lot of people can say that about their own dads. You know what I'm saying? That when they're there, they're present.
It's rare, bro.
Yeah,
it really is rare.
So I try to spend real time with him and take him places and do things with him. Like when I think about when I was younger, my dad couldn't do that. You know, my dad couldn't just like random days just take me. He was always working. You know, and so while I'm not, I'll ignore everybody. You know, when I'm home, I'll ignore everybody to spend time with my kid. Doesn't matter who you are. Like, doesn't matter how big the opportunity. I don't care. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, when all of this is done and I'm not popping and, nobody's checking for me, I'm going to still have a kid. And it's up to him what he takes away from our relationship, and he still needs to learn things.
Well, I'm talking to like so many like radio heads who have been in the game for like 15, 20 years now, and they always remind me like, like since you're back home from the Bay, like make sure you make it apparent to like be with your family, because at the end of the day, bro, like no matter how much fame you can acquire over the years or how much money you get, like none of it really matters. What does matter is like the memories that you create with your family and with your, in your particular situation, like with your kid, like with your wifey too, with your family.
100%. And so that's That's the most important thing, and especially when you're in this music thing or you're in anything where you're kind of your own boss, like your job is 24/7, and it can go 24/7. If I wanted to, I could be so popping in a week, in 2 weeks. If I really decided to say, I'm only focusing on the music, this is the only thing. I'm not forced in my relationships, and I'm not really, I don't care about that. I'm working, grind every day, 24/7. But that's corny, you know what I mean? Because people always tell me like you're so cynical, but I'm like, one day I'm gonna die, And so none of this will matter. All the work I put in will not matter. It's a striving for the win, as the Bible would say. And I look at that and I take that to heart because, man, since none of this will matter, I might as well balance balance it and have a good balance, so I can be happy and my child could be happy because he's the most important thing,
Amen to that, man.
Word.
Shout out to my future self once I end up becoming a dad, but that ain't happening. You know what I mean? That ain't happening anytime soon, man.
I feel you. Don't rub it in.
So, bro, like I want to do this little segment, so I actually went through a couple of your tweets, and there's a lot of questions that I have. First and foremost, one of your tweets, you said, when Toby Lou send you some fire.
Yeah.
Where's that feature at, bro?
And we working on it, bro. You know how I go with artists, bro, but I can say something about Toby Lou. He's one of the most amazing artists and people. He's just great. He's a great human being, and I appreciate his art and his vibe and everything. He's real genuine. And we're definitely, if we're not making something like, we're working on it, like we got stuff laid down, but we're gonna we sifting through what we like and don't like. We're like,
I'm just saying that'll be a fire feature, bro. Like that shit'll be crazy.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next tweet, man. If Lil Nas X run for president, I'm gonna vote for the first time.
Hell yeah. It's a good tweet right there.
That is a good tweet
That's the concept that people signed up for right there.
What credentials do you feel like Lil Nas X has?
Lil Nas X, first of all, you need to replace Lil Nas X with Donald Trump in that sentence. Like, what credentials does Donald Trump have to be president? You feel me? So Lil Nas X is funny, and I feel like that's the same reason Donald Trump is president. But I think it's just obviously watching what he's doing, and like now he opened up that he's gay and things like that. It's the biggest. It's everything, bro. It's like I'm watching the whole thing, and I'm like, this dude just like out here trolling the whole music industry, dropping a country song, just talking about I got my horses in the bag. My son knows the song. You feel me? He's 2.5. Knows the song better than me, knows my lyrics better than me, but like it's like he trolled the whole game. You know what I mean? And somebody really said like, what if a white dude was to come out and rap about, like some country, some hip hop shit and hip hop stereotypes or whatever. Somebody was like, that's Post Malone. I was like,
Oh, shit. No.
I was like,
damn.
He's on to something.
Yeah.
You feel me? And so him like watching Lil Nas X do that, he's a pillar in the black community. You feel me? And so like, I'm happy for him. I look at him, I'm like, do your thing, bro. Like and then him becoming gay was just like the cherry on top. Not becoming gay, but him coming out as gay was like the cherry on top because I'm like, let's go.
It's
bro.
like you check every single box.
Now
bro.
you trolling everybody, and now it's beautiful. Now it's great.
Yeah.
And the reason I posted that is because he made this tweet that was just had me on my ass. He was like, the next dude to make fun of me being gay is getting kissed on the cheek or something. Like, I was like, son, I love this guy, bro. Like, cause he's like really pulling at people's insecurities and just like really coming at people, because that would make any guy that was like really homophobic, you know what I mean, just feel really bad about themselves, like so mad that it's just like, I couldn't. It's just great to watch, like somebody be themselves and be just so unapologetic. It's just dope. So that's why I tweeted that.
Oh man, that was hella funny. One person that we had here on the lunch table maybe like a year or two ago, Collaborate, and you actually had a recording session with Caleb for a feature, but it's not out.
It's not
What's
out.
up? Was it supposed to be for his or for yours?
That's for his, so you can't even ask me about that.
So I got to ask him about that.
Exactly. You got to hit him up that. Press him.
Shout out Caleb, man.
Yeah, another great person. Yeah.
Me and my girl text each other in rhyme. Our convos are poetry. Does your girl ever, like, beat you in a rhyme whenever you guys are texting?
Does she ever beat me in a rhyme?
Yeah.
She's nice. She's nice. Sometimes she gives me a run for my money. I'm not even gonna lie. She's a really good poet, you know. So, yeah. Sometimes I'll be listening to what she's saying. I'm like, all right, I gotta step my shit up.
He's like, you know what? I'm gonna use that for the new album. I'm gonna use that on FOTO.
Nah. we ain't splitting no royalties here. Chill.
Right.
Nah. You feel me? You never know. know.
And the last question, bro, just because like I've been a huge fan of this ever since I was a kid. You tweeted, been getting spotted on the train, feeling like a rare Pokemon. Yeah. So I gotta ask you, bro, if you were to be like any Pokemon, what would you be?
Charmander. Charmander's fire. Feel me?
Because Charmander's
no pun
fire.
intended. Yeah. I always liked Charmander though. He was always lit. You know, I don't know why.
And shout out to Charmander,
because he was
man.
chill most of the time until somebody really got him heated or stepped
That's
on his
true.
tail. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And so like that's pretty much me. Like I'm chill most of the time until somebody like thinks that they could play me, and I'm like, yo.
But even like Charmander, even Charmander had a weak spot.
Huh?
Even Charmander had a weak spot.
What was his weak spot?
The tail.
The tail.
So
that's
if the
what I'm
fire
saying.
was ever like burnt out, like the Charmander would die.
Damn, that's crazy. Why you get that deep with it, bro?
Hey, I'm just saying, man. I'm a
It wasn't
Pokemon
even supposed to
fanatic,
be
bro.
all that, bro.
The last
Yo,
question
man,
I want to ask you, Kota, like why Kota the Friend? Because you used to go by AV Life.
Oh, why you did that? Yo, interview done. I'm about to run off on him. Nah, I say Kota the Friend because, man, Kota, I love the name. I got it from a movie, Brother Bear, where the one of the bears' names was Kota, Koda. And in the Native American language, that means friend. And so I just kind of put those two together, you know what I'm saying?
So kind of like Friend the Friend.
Yeah, if you want to look at that.
Okay.
People say that. He trolling me. That's crazy. Still got love for him, though.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Kota the Friend, man. Where can everybody find you?
Everywhere at Kota the Friend, Kota the Friend, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. It's the same thing because nobody has the name. And so, yeah.
Well, check out that album FOTO out on all streaming platforms right now. This is the Lunch Table Food for Thought. I'm Nico Blitz, Kota the Friend, and we are out.
Appreciate you.